Welcome to the Ag Culture Podcast, where we cultivate tomorrow by inspiring agripreneurs and ag innovators through real-life stories in agriculture. My name is Paul Windemuller, and I am your host on this journey of exploration and growth. On today's episode, you guys have the privilege of just hearing me talk. Sorry, no guests today. I wanted to talk to you guys and explain kind of what I'm doing over the next couple of months. When this episode releases, I will be on my way to start my Nuffield Scholars study program. I'll be heading to Brazil at that point. But before that, before this episode even releases, I'll also be heading overseas to Dubai and Bahrain in the Middle East. So I'm going to be heading over there. My focus for that will be in Dubai. I'll be visiting the Gulfood Expo, which is one of the largest food expos in the world. There'll be over 5,000 exhibitors from around the world there. And be sitting down with some folks in the dairy industry that are going to be there. And then also taking a look at the export market of the Middle East, dairy products from the U.S., from around the world that are coming there to supply the Middle East and North Africa. So that's going to be that trip, as well as visiting a dairy farm in Bahrain. And I should have some footage of that. I'm hoping to show everybody on my social platforms for the podcast. And then the travels after that, like I said, for the Nuffield Scholars program, I will be heading to Brazil. I'll be spending a week with Nuffield Scholars from all over the world. So I think there's going to be roughly 80 of us there, as well as past Nuffield Scholars. So there'll be more than just 80 there, but there will be 80 new scholars there, and then everybody else that's kind of tagging along for the conference. And that's where we're going to be really networking with each other and getting to understand how to proceed with the study that we're going to be doing individually on our own. And just meeting people, that's what I'm most looking forward to. Once that conference is done, that's about a week long. I'll be spending the next 5 weeks after that traveling in what's called the Global Focus program or Global Focus Tour. We'll be traveling to quite a few different places around the globe. With that, we'll be spending some more time traveling around Brazil. And I'm going to be with a group of 11 other people from Canada, Brazil. We've got Poland, New Zealand, Australia, and probably some other countries that I even forgot. So I look forward to spending that time getting to know them, getting to know my group more in depth, and hopefully I'll be able to share some of their stories with you guys as we go along in this journey. I'll be going to some other, like I said, other countries besides Brazil. We'll be coming back to the U.S. with our group for a week, and we'll be spending that week in Texas. We'll also be visiting countries like Germany and Europe, mainland Europe, and then also I believe we're going to be wrapping the trip up in Ireland. So I look forward to visiting all those places and sharing those stories with you. That's going to be more of a general look at what's going on in those countries in agriculture, not necessarily my study topic, and then also getting to know the people that I'll be traveling with more in depth and just challenging one another to learn and grow and what we understand from each of our own individual perspective. So I encourage you guys, if you're listening to this and this sounds interesting, to follow along. I'm going to be posting as much content as I can get out on our social media platforms, the Ag Culture Podcast social media. So that's Facebook, that's LinkedIn, that's Instagram, all these other things that I don't really use other than posting stuff on it for you guys. But you can also follow along with my personal social media, mostly on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. So Instagram, Dreamwinds Dairy is our farm Instagram account. You can just find my name, Paul Windemuller, for Facebook and for LinkedIn. So I want this to be interactive. I don't want to just be putting content out there. I want to hear what you guys want to see while I'm traveling. So interact with the posts that you see on social media. If you have a question or something that you're hoping that I can show you along the way as I journey through these countries, feel free to reach out. We have our email. It's connect@agculturepodcast.com, or put the question in one of the chats on our social media. That will be something that I'll be checking along the way, and I'd be happy to try and address those topics or questions that you have, or maybe even making a future episode on them that I can film and record while I'm going along on this journey. So I want this to be interactive, like I said, and I want this to be more than just travel and an experience for myself. I want to be able to bring you along so you can experience this alongside of me. Now, moving on to my study topic. So, like I said, I'll be going with a group of people around the world. That part of my Nuffield Scholars program will not necessarily be just geared toward my study topic, but I will be also doing a lot of other personal travel over the next year here, more focused on that study topic. And that topic is artificial intelligence adoption in ruminant livestock. So I'm looking at the dairy sector. I'm looking at the beef sector, sheep, and also deer. So if you have any interest in those sectors, in the topic of artificial intelligence, again, reach out, send me your questions, send me your ideas. If you have any people that you know that are working in those sectors specific to artificial intelligence, I'd love to connect with those people to be able to share their perspective with you on what I'm learning. Why do I believe artificial intelligence adoption in ruminant livestock is an important thing to study? That's kind of the question that you're probably asking yourself. Well, I believe it can unlock a huge potential for understanding rumen function and projecting health problems in these livestock classes, maybe projecting breeding protocols and training employees. And these things can be used on farms of all sizes, not just really large farms or really small farms. Anyone can use these tools if we can cost effectively find ways to adopt them. Now, to many people that don't really understand artificial intelligence, haven't really heard of the concept, might have heard some really scary things in the news, and it's an interesting topic from that respect. There are some things that artificial intelligence, we don't know a lot about the power that it can bring us at this point. We're just kind of in the infant stage of it, kind of like the internet was back in the early to mid 90s, right? So it can sound a little scary, and it's more than just Chat GPT on your computer. There's so many uses, and I've been using artificial intelligent information on my farm, on my dairy farm at home, for over 7 years now. With the robot technology that we had, we were blessed enough to have a lot of those data gathering systems and software programs that helped us disseminate that data and use it to increase production, increase efficiency at our farm. So I have found it to be really helpful on my farm as a farmer, and I want to help other people from all different sectors be able to experience that. The other thing that I wanted to do on this episode was basically make a time capsule. So I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to have all these experiences. I'm going to have all these different insights that I don't have today. And I want to make a timestamp of this is where I'm at in my thinking of artificial intelligence today. These are the things that I understand today, but I also know that that's probably going to change quite a bit over the next year and a half as I'm studying this topic, as technology is getting developed and as I meet new people. So I want to take this time right now just to go through some of the things that I understand about it today, some of the things that I've learned about AI so far, and that way we can see how far that I've come in my understanding of it as we progress here. So starting out, I just want to break it down into categories of things that I understand I need to look at as I study this topic of artificial intelligence and ruminant livestock. So we have, starting out with data collection. You need data in order to have artificial intelligence be able to disseminate information and share that information in a way that's meaningful to the farmer. So data collection is extremely important. It's something that's been around for quite a while. We've had electronic RFID tags for a while. We've had collars on cows for a while. We've had software programs out that have been able to capture that data, and things like cloud-based softwares that can take that data and store it, not on our computer, but in a place that can store massive amounts of data. So we need to have that storage, but that's not really the main focus of what I'm studying. We know that's a kind of a prerequisite to get that data that we need. The next point is data dissemination. Dissemination. So we're going to take in all this data, all these different data points from around the farm, maybe from what's going on with an animal, and we're going to try to figure out, okay, what is noise, what is meaningful, right? Meaningful data then is going to have to be put out in a way that somebody managing a farm or an employee on a farm can then take that information and put it into action. Because all this is no good if you're not actually putting something into action, right? The part that I've noticed in the little study that I've done so far that seems to be an issue, a roadblock to artificial intelligence on farm, is the data sharing between platforms. You know, we've all seen these companies that they want to wall off everyone else. They don't want to share information with other technologies that could be utilized with their own to make a stronger decision for the farmer. There's a lot of debate on who owns the information. Does the company own it, or does the farmer own it? If the farmer owns it, what do they have to do to help that be able to be shared with another platform and put that information together? Because what we're really looking for is, because we're looking at a biological system here, right? You're looking at an animal that's taking in feed. That feed might be coming from many different sources, and it's going through that animal. Each animal is an individual. It has individual ailments that it's had in its past, or individual genetic responses that it's going to have. And all of these data points that are coming from that animal are critical to understanding the animal as a whole. I think AI is much more fascinating in the realm of a biological system like animals or plants than it is in a factory. You know, a factory, you turn out the widgets and you're dealing with very fixed variables, where animals' systems are always changing. And that's why this helps bring more insight into that, I believe. So moving on from sharing of data between platforms and dealing with that issue, one thing that I also want to look into is training the AI models, because if you're not telling the AI model what it is looking for, or what type of action we're hoping to get from the information, it's not going to really help you. So we need to be able to train these models. And how do we do that? Do we just feed it some more information, historic information? Do we tell it what we want it to do? This is an area that I don't know a lot about yet, and that I'm hoping to look into more. The next bullet point that I had here was, and it's probably the most important, is how are we going to use the models and information that are created by the artificial intelligence as managers, as farmers, as employees, to bring profitability to farms, improve product quality, improve the environment, improve human safety, of the safety of our employees, and also to improve animal care. This is really why we're doing it, right? So this is a spot that I'm going to spend a lot of time on, is how can we do that? And not just for large commercialized farms. I want to figure out, what's this look like for a small holder in maybe a developing country? Is that different than a deer station in New Zealand versus a dairy farm in the US, right? So these are some of the things that I'm thinking about as I'm going along. You can tell by my conversation, it's kind of in its infancy of my understanding of where this can go. But like I said, I've been using artificial intelligence for 7 years on my farm, and it's been amazing to see the progression of the animals that and how we've cared for them, how we've been able to do better with breeding, and how that milk production has come up because of all of these things that we can do better on the farm with this information. So I want to be able to help other farmers around the world have that same experience. That's really the end goal with this. And then at the end, in probably a year and a half, I'll be going around to conferences to share my findings and to share it with you guys. So if you have a conference that maybe you're in charge of, looking for speakers, please reach out. I am willing to look at coming to many different events and talking on this topic. I will be going to a couple of conferences I've already got scheduled to speak at, and I'm sure I'll be bringing those up as they come along to make you aware of those opportunities. I appreciate you guys listening today. I know it's just me, but I am grateful to have you as a listener. And I hope you continue to get value out of this podcast. It's a passion of mine. I'm doing this to inspire others. I had so many people along the way that have inspired me and through their stories and have encouraged me to continue on in my journey to become a farmer and then to help others do that same thing. It's a big passion of mine. So if you found value in this, please share it with somebody else. That's how we grow our podcast. That's how we can reach more people and encourage more people. I thank you so much for listening. And as always, follow along on our social media pages, Ag Culture Podcast and Paul Windemuller. Look forward to talking next week. Thank you.